From the Colonial Pipeline attack that disrupted gas supply throughout the Southeast to an even more recent breach at an American nuclear weapons contractor, ransomware is wreaking havoc on U.S. industry and infrastructure. The White House issued a memo on June 2nd stating that the most important takeaway from the recent spate of ransomware attacks on U.S., Irish, German, and other organizations around the world is that companies that view ransomware as a threat to their core business operations rather than a simple risk of data theft will react and recover more effectively. Let's examine why ransomware is the weapon of choice for so many of today's hackers and how businesses can protect themselves from this threat. Ransomware is a type of malware. Once it's on a victim's device, it encrypts critical files, making them inaccessible and disabling the systems that rely on those files to run. Ransomware can encrypt entire business networks if given the opportunity. After the attack is launched, hackers request a ransom in return for decryption of the files. They may request even more money to prevent the data from those files being released to the dark web. How does ransomware get onto the victim's device? The most common point of entry is through a phishing email. Just one wrong click can give a hacker an open door to launch the rest of their attack. Ransomware has been around for over 30 years. There are a few reasons why we are seeing a sudden spike in its use. First, ransomware has gotten easier to execute, making it a more accessible weapon against targets. Second, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have made it much easier for criminals to securely receive ransom payment. And third, the coronavirus pandemic accelerated the transition many companies were already making to running their business digitally. Simultaneously, the pandemic caused mass panic and a lack of security protocols for remote workers. Together, this created a rapidly increasing number of targets who were all the more vulnerable to endpoint attacks and social engineering. There are two ways to reduce the threat a ransomware attack poses to your company: prevention and preparation. No prevention method is 100% reliable, which is why it's best to take a layered approach to cybersecurity. Mandatory security awareness training for your staff will teach them how to spot and avoid the phishing emails that can lead to a ransomware attack. Strong endpoint security software can help spot and intervene against malware like ransomware. You can also encourage employees to work in office rather than remotely so that their devices are protected by your office's central cybersecurity measures. Because ransomware is always evolving, you need to prepare for the event in which your prevention efforts fail. The best way to prepare for a ransomware attack is to create and execute a BCDR, or Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery Plan. Part of this plan should involve continuous backups for every machine on your network so that after an attack, you have every file and application you had before the attack without having to pay a ransom. Companies with good BCDR plans can resume business as usual in a matter of hours after a ransomware attack. If you're worried about ransomware, then you need to take concrete steps to secure your business's critical data and systems. Consult with your digital agent about improving your cybersecurity and setting up your company's BCDR plan.